Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. I asked my partner to be sure you're on a node for the last meeting of the year. A meeting that celebrates that which happened 30 years ago when I came in to my partner's life. And in these channels, I am reviewing some of the most important things that I have shared with you. And I'm doing it again. So much has been discussed, dear ones, about human consciousness. And I want to again review some things. If indeed you were created in the image of God, what is that image? It's not your face, it's not your body, it's not your biology. Dear ones, it's love. That's the image of God. It's compassion. And those two things are very high-minded things. They go way beyond that which is the current consciousness of the planet. That's the image of God. And there would be some who would doubt that, and they say it could not have been. It could not have been that way, cannot be that way. Because if you look at the consciousness of humanity, it's low. So that begs a question. Is it possible that consciousness itself of humanity can be variable? Is it possible that it can go up to match the magnificence of the Creator or go down? All with free choice, and the answer is that is the premise and always has been. Always has been. If you ask the highest-minded intellectual human being the question, how high can you think? I guarantee the answer will be, we as humans are unlimited and can go as high as we wish. The intellectual is proud of thinking above the rest of humanity into areas that no one can think. Pondering things that are beyond ponder, they say. And yet, I will tell you this, there is a ceiling. There is a place where you cannot go that is beyond where you are. It's the top level. It's the barrier. It's the veil where you cannot think above a certain place. I want to give you an example of something that you all understand and you know. Have you ever contemplated the intellect of that beautiful, wonderful love partner called the dog? The dog can feel so many emotions, including love and compassion, sadness, anger, jealousy. The dog would seem to have so much intelligence, understanding the human, and even feeling that which is what a human thinks. It can pick it up. That's pretty smart. Dogs have intuition. Intuition that you're coming home or that you're leaving. And yet I ask you this, can a dog contemplate its own existence? And the answer is no. What do you think a dog thinks of you? And you might say, well, we probably appear as gods to the dogs. You don't. You're just another animal who they love, who feeds them, who cares for them. It's a beautiful arrangement, but they don't contemplate who you might be. A dog does not contemplate humanity. A dog cannot think above what a dog can think. I once told you something that appeared to be perhaps inappropriate, but I'll say it again. If you were all dogs, God would be a dog. You know I'm right. And all the angels would go around smelling each other. You know I'm right. There is a limit to consciousness. As proof, we say again, what you have done is to place God in a human form. And you've given God all of the issues of duality. If you were dogs, God would be a dog. If you're human, God is a human. Because you cannot think any higher than that. So the next thing I give you yet again, for those who understand what I'm thinking, what I'm saying, what I'm teaching, what might be beyond where you can think. There's a barrier, a wall. But that barrier, that wall is starting to move. It's starting to move upward. If you wish to measure things that are higher in an upward direction, that's what we'll say. Consciousness is expanding, and the whole idea of vibration comes into this formula. Vibrations that are starting to come into this planet are new. They're higher, but not just higher. They are starting to be multidimensional. Past what you have, they're starting to have concepts of that which is outside of 3 dimensions, 4 dimensions, 5, how many you want to number. You can't really number dimensionality. It doesn't work that way. But you like to do it that way. What does that look like? I'll tell you. It looks like this, a light worker who comes to a meeting like this and starts to ponder more than their existence, starts to ponder their alliance with the Creator. That's out of the box because you haven't been taught to do that, dear ones. You have been taught to worship the Creator. Not many start to ponder an alliance with the Creator. That's God in you. And some are starting to see what I have called the spark. The spark. This is what happens when you start to sit and think about what's beyond that which you believe you can think about. And it pushes you through that wall, sometimes only instantaneously, and sometimes for the rest of your life. I'll tell you one of the most common sparks of all. Spontaneous remission. Did you know that was a spark? Where a human being for a moment or two, for reasons that you wouldn't understand, goes to that place where there is a query. Do you want to stay or go? And the soul says one or the other. And the soul who goes to that place, whether conscious or unconscious, on an operating table or not, has an instantaneous answer, I'm staying. And the whole body reacts, and the disease leaves. You call it a miracle, spontaneous remission. You know what that was? That was a human who momentarily went beyond that which you think is even there. Had a spark for a moment and came back and is still alive because of it. God inside. A system which actually was queried, was questioned. Do you want to stay or go? What if you can control it? What if your own divinity, you could say, I want to go beyond that which is the wall, the veil. I want to experience the spark. I want to go there. So many have. But you don't really understand what's happened. Suddenly, you're peaceful. Suddenly, something has happened in you. You have a grasp on reality you never did before. Welcome to a compassionate action dimension. You have started to broach the veil, become more compassionate, more alive, more loving, more peaceful. You're going to live longer. Your cells know it because you're starting to broach that place humanity's never been before. Only the shamans go there. Only the priests will go there. The ones who are trained to go there, the meditators will go there, but not regular humanity until now. The ancients, where you sit today, had a calendar that was cyclical and mentioned that there could be many calendars, and there were in the past. They also, in their prophecies, said you might not make it. But if you did, past the precession of the equinoxes, if you did, that consciousness which you think is static and stable would start to grow. In their prophecies, from here, the ancients said that if you passed that precession, that 2012 date, that humanity might then start experience the highest consciousness they had ever had. That was the marker. And they were not the only ones to see this. All over the planet, they saw that. The ancients knew something was past 2012. That was a graduation point. If you hadn't destroyed yourself, and you didn't, then that graduation would give you the ability to think beyond where you are to a consciousness that would not destroy itself because it now knows better. It now knows better. The children are leaving the planet and the adults have arrived. That's what it's like. Oh, there's so much above that ceiling the intellectual thinks is not there. Because it's not intellectual, it's heart-based reality. And some of you sitting in the chairs right now can raise your hands and celebrate the fact that you are there. You're starting to see a light that was never there before. Thank you, Spirit, for all that you are in a time that needs you, old soul. You've arrived. That's why you're here. You want to know what you're supposed to do. You want to know what your contract is, which doesn't really exist. You want to know why you're here? To sit here and to show your light to others around you, so that many of them will ask you someday, quietly, in private, how do you do it? How do you do it? That's why you're here. That's the contract. Just to hold the light and say, I've experienced the spark. That's why I'm here. The spark is that which you didn't expect, a change in human nature, a change in everything that is, a place that only God knows about, that you are now starting to experience. That is the shift. 30 years we came, we didn't tell you that. Because you hadn't gotten there yet. How could we begin to tell you that there was something beyond what you ever thought was there? How could we tell you that? When you couldn't think about it and you wouldn't understand it and it wasn't even mentioned. But now it's all we talk about, because that's where you are. Your very reality is shifting. And how you think is shifting. It shifts into a place where you start to recognize you don't have to be afraid. Or you start to recognize you don't have to worry. Where the first expression of maturity in trouble you might have is peace. Always say that again. That when you get in trouble and where there are things to fear and worry about, your first reaction is peace. You know you're above the mark of old human nature when this starts to occur. That's who's here. That's who's starting to listen to these messages and starting to say, I knew it, there's more than I thought. Something's going on. Oh, yes it is. That's what takes you out of your own history. I'll say it again, don't let things in the past dictate your future. Because that's an old energy of you, of the earth, of the world. What's in front of you, you've never experienced. And the brave soul will go there because they recognize that's where the light is. That's not where the dark is. That's where the light is. I'll be back. This is your lineage. Celebrate it. Enjoy it. And don't forget where the prophecy of where you are came from. The dirt of the earth at your feet. And this, a beautiful place filled with core truth. And so it is.